So my name is Ayano. I am a fourth year political science major and accounting minor. I conducted my capstone project with faculty mentor, Professor Kim Dioni. My field of study is education systems in Southeast Asia. Questions I had in this thesis are how do education systems in Southeast Asia differ from each other? Are the qualities of education improving? How do international finances affect these countries and their education system? What factors can help to improve the educational environment? I hypothesize international aid would influence education and development. Southeast Asia consists of 11 countries, but in this research, I picked 2 states, Myanmar and Cambodia, and I compared their education systems. So I introduced brief summary of those 2 countries. First, Cambodia has an ethnic homogeneity. 90% of the population is Khmer, and more than 90% of them are Buddhist. Myanmar, formerly called Burma, has similarity and difference from Cambodia. As same as Cambodia, the dominant religion is Buddhism. However, unlike Cambodia, Myanmar has ethnic diversity. 68% of the population are Burman, but there are 135 minority ethnic groups. Myanmar became independent from Japanese imperial rule in 1948. Before then, they were also ruled by British. There are other things in common between Cambodia and Myanmar, and those are more important to know in my research. Both in Cambodia and Myanmar are ODA Western countries, and they were labeled as least developed countries. The countries are not free or democratic countries. They have colonized history and issues and concerns on education, such as quality of education, high dropout rate, and high opportunity cost. To assess how educated people are in Myanmar compared to people in Cambodia, I used Mears method, which is a comparative method to search for the necessity and the sufficient cause of political phenomena. Mears method comprises the method of agreement and the method of difference. If the measure is the same, use the Mears method of agreement and find differences. So let's move on and see the data I collected and how same and different they are. First of all, as outcome variable, I use enrollment ratio in primary education and primary completion rate. As the data shows, they are different on this outcome measurement. So in this research, I utilized Mears method of difference, which compares cases to see what they all do not have in common. Cambodia is more successful than Myanmar at getting kids to finish primary school in 2014. Cambodia got really good enrollment. Myanmar's enrollment is also good, but Cambodia is such a good job getting everyone into schools when they are supposed to be. This comparison suggests Myanmar was in great need of foreign aid for education. These findings raise a few questions. Did this opening of Myanmar as a destination of foreign aid and the shift from Cambodia, getting more to Myanmar, getting more take funds away from Cambodia? What is consequence of that shift? How much did opening in Myanmar cost Cambodia? Myanmar has received more ODA than Cambodia since 2013, whereas Cambodia has received a stable ODA amount for the last 10 years, from 2010 to 2019. Myanmar's ODA amount has gone up from 2013. In 2013, Myanmar got 11 times more aid than in 2018, and Myanmar received 6.8 times more than Cambodia received. I analyzed what happened in Myanmar in 2013 and found out Myanmar got more aid and more ODA in 2013 because of debt relief. In response to President Thein Sein political reforms, the United States under former President Obama and the European Union began to ease the sanction on Myanmar after 2012. I found another data that show who financed Cambodia and Myanmar most between 2018 and 2019. According to OECD, Japan was the top donor of both countries. As I showed in previous slides, Cambodia and Myanmar had different colonial rulers. Cambodia was ruled by France and Myanmar was ruled by Britain and Japan. So the allocation of financial support may relate to which countries they were colonized. Maybe their rulers were generous and give them more aid. By the way, this is not the aid only for education, but also for other industries such as healthcare. Next, I compared pupil-teacher ratio for primary education in 2014 and 2018. In general, pupil-teacher ratio tend to be lower in richer countries. The ratio in the United States as of 2018 is on average 54 primary school students per teacher. The 2018 pupil-teacher ratio clearly indicates Myanmar had smaller class size than Cambodia. Moreover, Myanmar's student-teacher ratio in 2018 got lower compared to Myanmar 2014. That is, one classroom has less students per teacher in 2018 than 2014. I would say Myanmar has reduced its pupil-teacher ratio in part because of the influx of foreign aid by 2018. On the other hand, the ratio of Cambodia in 2018 got worse than that in 2014. Myanmar needed more aid, and with the political opening, they got more aid. Existing data illustrate the number of students per teacher is much lower than Cambodia. But even though there is better pupil-teacher ratio, we are not seeing an improvement yet in the years of schooling. So it's possible that we are not going to see an impact on other outcomes for a while. Therefore, the expectation in the next study would be one that see if this influx of foreign aid lead to better outcomes. Still, it is great to know what Myanmar's pupil-teacher ratio was in the previous years. It is also important to know when foreign aid come in for Myanmar, things get better for students. At least they were not as crowded in the classroom. Hence, I concluded education aid would travel to where it is needed. As we saw, Myanmar lagged behind Cambodia in primary school completion in 2014. Myanmar experiences a shift in government in 2012 and 2013 that encourages the return of foreign donors. Comparing Myanmar to Cambodia, it was clear that Myanmar gained more foreign aid in 2018. Now, there are fewer students per teacher in 2018 in Myanmar compared to Cambodia in 2018, and also compared to Myanmar in 2014. The shifting in the government, which encouraged the return of foreign donors, led to seeing the little spike in foreign aid. Not only it became better than Cambodia, but also education systems in Myanmar is better in 2018 than Myanmar was in the past. Together, this suggests that foreign aid can be responsive to development needs and political openings. And it may also be true that foreign aid can have an immediate effect, such as on reducing pupil-teacher ratio. That aid had some impact, and the consequences I found were that the student-teacher ratio in Myanmar improved from 2014 to 2018. Unfortunately, the student-teacher ratio in Cambodia worsened from 2014 to 2018. There are references. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I would like to express my great appreciation to my faculty mentor, Professor Kim Diani, for her patient guidance, and the University Honors Program for great opportunity that opened my eyes towards the world of professionalism and careers. And lastly, my wonderful families for their unwavering support and encouragement for everything I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayano. Thank you very much.